My name is Michelle Buck. I'm from Acclaim Car and Truck Repair, and today one of our customers has a 1966 Oldsmobile Toronado being featured in the show. I'd like to introduce to you George Rasick, the owner of the Toronado. George, just a couple things that I've learned about your car over the time that we've been working on it. It won in 1966. It won the Motor Trend Car of the Year award. Did you know that?
I did know that. Yes.
Tell me a little bit about what you know about the car.
Well, he won the Motor Trend Car of the Year. First front-wheel drive vehicle since, I believe, the 1937 Accord.
Yes.
Designed by Bill Mitchell and David North from General Motors. And I think they actually GM started working on this in the probably around 1958.
Wow. And what made you pick the Toronado as your classic car?
Always just found the look of it just very unique. First time I think I ever saw it, I was at a car show in New Hope, Pennsylvania about 30 years ago, and I saw a black Toronado in 1966. And the car just always stuck with me.
It's a beautiful car. We have had a lot of fun working on it and driving it. I'm one of the lucky ones where I get to drive these beautiful cars on a regular basis. Yours is actually my favorite to drive. It's one of the easiest cars to drive. It's so simple, so luxurious at the same time as having the look of a muscle car. Is that one of the things that drew you to it?
Yes, I mean, the power of the vehicle, it just wants to run. I mean, when you're getting this thing in third gear and you're going, 50, 60 miles an hour, the car is just so quiet, but it's just moving.
Yeah.
And even just starting off at a red light, there's so much power, so much torque.
Yeah. So what were some of the things when you brought it to us that was your biggest concern about the drivability of the car?
So when I brought it into Acclaim, the issue at the time was the transmission. It just had a nagging leak. But as the technicians were looking at it, we actually ended up rebuilding the transmission at that time and also the carburetor. And it really fixed the issues. Yes.
Well, with the transmission, and we'll get into that a little bit later when I interview the master transmission tech who worked on the transmission. You can't fix a carburetor or a transmission without working on the carburetor. They work in tandem, and as most of the parts do on these old cars, everything kind of works together. But we love your car. As I heard from you this morning, it has been judged.
Yes.
Tell me about that process.
Well, it was pretty thorough. So the judges came up and they started with asking about the history of the vehicle. And I showed them the original protector plate that I found in the car when I was going through it after I first bought it. And so the car was sold new in November of 1965 in Los Angeles. From the documentation I have, the car made its way with this owner to Arizona, probably late 80s, early 90s, and then it was sold. I think I'm the third owner, so it spent its life in Arizona. So it's a Southwest car. It's solid. So
yeah, no, this is definitely a rust-free car. It's an Arizona car for sure. Anything from anywhere else almost has a lot of rust in it, and this car is absolutely in great condition. It's a beautiful car. You should be extremely proud.
I am.
No matter the results, we are so happy to have been a part of this journey with you, and we thank you so much for having us along the way.
Thank you, Michelle. It's a pleasure to work with you and the team at Acclaim. Thank you.
Thanks, George. Welcome back to the Concours Fancy Car Show. Because I can't say it right. Tell me how to say it, Ken.
D'Elegance.
Yeah.
Concours d'Elegance. It's French.
I'm not French. This gentleman standing here next to me is Acclaim Car and Truck's master transmission tech and founder. Ken had the honor of working on George's 1966 Toronado. Ken, let's get right into it. How much fun was working on this car?
Well, I had the fun because I didn't have to take it out of the car and put it back in the car. They just gave it to me, and I enjoyed very much working on this car. This is because I really love the car, but there was a couple of challenges. These cars were notorious for leaks, and that's basically what it came in on. And I think we did a pretty good job sealing them up but the transmission was also the first edition. And over the years, they improved it, and I incorporated the improvements in this one. So it's better than the actual original one.
Tell me about this car's drivetrain. What makes it so unique and ahead of its time, really?
In my opinion, this was Oldsmobile's first hot rod. All right, it's got an enormous engine, and and everything is up front, so all the weight is over the wheels, and so it's got better traction. It doesn't have coil springs. It's got torsion bar suspension, which is even nice. It made it for a firmer ride, so it handled better. Now, if you thought it was a total luxury car, it was, but it also had a little harder ride than what you might have liked. But other than that, it was a great car. It was a great innovation, and it was actually a pleasure to work on it and get it to where it was up to speed.
Explain why, when working on a transmission, it's the smartest idea to work on the carburetor as well. What makes them work so well together and getting them done correct at the same time is what makes it drive better.
The transmission is what it is. It's a transmitter. It transmits the power and torque from the engine to the wheels. If the source of the power is not correct, the transmission will never be able to perform properly. So the power plant has got to be working optimally. And a poorly running engine ruins a transmission. It doesn't make it work any better. And so you want to get the power plant working good. That's why we addressed the carburetor, to get it up to speed, and then a general tune-up and getting it running. So we got the car not only running well, but performing well. And they also used this drivetrain in the Eldorado in the later years. So it wasn't just to Oldsmobile. And General Motors was always way ahead of everybody else, way ahead. But when you're ahead of everybody else, you make boo-boos. And General Motors had some boo-boos. But the rest of the industry learned off of the boo-boos. General Motors paid for it, but they had the advantage of learning what to do and what not to do.
What was what's one thing about this car that you would say made it way ahead of its time?
The design. I love the design of this car. It is the eyebrows. This was the only one that had it. They got rid of that the following year. The sleek design, the comfort. I mean, everything about this car was incredible. No hump in the middle of the floor. It's flat. All you could put a bench seat in there or your sofa, and you didn't have to worry about that hump in the floor. It was quiet. It was a quiet car. It was a hot rod Oldsmobile that had features of Cadillac as far as comfort and power.
Yeah, I really enjoy driving this car when it comes in the shop. It's so much fun.
Yeah, and it goes.
Yeah,
it's
absolutely.
no slouch. It's
Absolutely.
second to none. It's up there with GTO and the rest of them. The GTO might get them out of the hole, but eventually that Toronado is going to catch up.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for sharing your insights and your expertise with us. I hope you had as much fun working on the car as the owner has driving it.
Well, the fun of it was when we got done, I got to drive it for a week. That was the fun. That's the reward.
That's always the reward for shop owners and shop mechanics, is getting to test drive these fun cars.
Yeah, it is.
Well, thank you for joining us at the Arizona Concours d'Elegance. We had a great time featuring one of our cars and being our first year sponsoring the show. So thank you to the owner, George, and Ken, our master transmission tech. We had a blast.
Without a hat. Yeah, there you go.
the Concours, Arizona El de Elegance.